All right, guys, welcome back to the Late Night Level Up. I'm your host, Jason Farrell. With me always, my man, 50 Grand, Roger Corbin. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. How you doing?
We got a very special guest with us today, Brian of SuckerPunch Entertainment. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
You just we just got to witness some behind the scenes magic. The man working with Wilson Hayes. I'm sure everybody here knows Wilson Hayes. I got to train with Wilson early on at Lloyd's, obviously, and then I've been fortunate enough to make a bunch of trips out to San Diego. Actually went out there for Comic-Con a couple times, and then I always ended up going to Alliance to get some training in too, because it's like one of the best gyms in the world.
Nice.
And Lloyd actually, I got really lucky one time. So Lloyd used to take me with him to film the Worlds tournament in Long Beach, and we were out there for about a week. You know, the one time I think it was like 2011, and then right after he's like, "Hey, you know how much Lloyd is. Hey, shorty, you going with me to San Diego for like 2 weeks?" I was like, "Okay." And I think I ended up being there for like a month actually. And I was just filming. So that was Dominic Cruz's second fight against Uriah Faber. So I did like some vlog stuff back then when like vlogs were just starting to kind of kick off. We made a couple for Dominic leading up to the fight. And I actually had a boxing fight coming up, so it worked out good for me because I was out there sparring and stuff like that. And yeah, that was probably one of the coolest trips I've ever had. Ate dinner at Brandon Vera's house with Brandon, Master Lloyd, Ben Henderson and his girlfriend were just happened to be in town. It was just like, yeah, just hanging out with like all these people, acting like I was Brian for a week or two, you know?
Yeah, right. Name
Awesome.
dropping.
Yeah, you know,
I got hammered for name dropping on my little prank that I put out on Instagram the other day. I was like,
people are hating on you for it.
Yeah, like you're name dropping. I was like, I'm name dropping the people that I promote.
Yeah, I work with
Like,
these people every day. Literally call these people every day. Otherwise, they wouldn't have answered the phone, right?
Right.
That's crazy.
I just thought it was funny. That's all.
That was hilarious. You saw that, didn't you, Raj?
I have not.
On the story. You didn't see it? What the hell, man?
I didn't see it.
It's on the stories. I had to post it. That was hilarious. I thought it was super funny. I hate talking on the phone, so like I just kept thinking about me. I was like, man, I'd be so pissed. I was like, why are you calling me? What the hell? That's really the coolest one was Lima.
Lima is probably the nicest guy on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's awesome. Always sweet and cheery Jessica Penne, just always being nothing but joy. Yeah. No, she was, Jessica. I get Jessica. She's funny. She actually is a sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, she's got a lot going on still, huh? She's still kind of in that battle, or?
No, she's got a fight coming up.
Oh, she does. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So I got a bunch of stuff listed down, kind of like a timeline, and we'll just kind of run through it a little bit, and you interject anything that you want to. Obviously, it's your show. What were you doing before SuckerPunch?
Before I started SuckerPunch, I own an ad agency. I've been running that for about 13 years. And it wasn't always an ad agency. It started out as a digital print company. Basically, it was at the time when those large format printers were the new technology. And I met up with the guy who was my partner, Gary Lindsay. At the time, I was interning at a place, and I met him and decided we could go out and buy these pieces of equipment and use that to get our foot in the door to do actual design work for companies. And it worked. So, after a couple of years of, printing mall posters and stuff like that, we kept pushing design work on people, and they eventually started trusting us more and more until I was able to shift it to nothing but design and advertising, marketing strategies and stuff like that. So it was I was very passionate about that. So I'm fortunate that I've been able to have two businesses that I've started that I've been very passionate about. So I know that in itself is a reward that a lot of people don't get. So I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. that's something that's actually a business that I've always been slightly interested in myself, and I've done some like very, very limited, like done some logos and stuff like that for people too. So I always appreciate your designs for the equipment and stuff like that. I know you've always done some really cool stuff too.
No, I can see your stuff is always clean.
Thank you,
We
brother.
had
I
a
appreciate
conversation yesterday
Yeah.
about it.
Got some tips from the
Your
man.
shirts are all your shirts are great, man. And that, so I can't wait to get the next shipment of them from you.
Yeah, we got some stuff in the pipeline. I've been slacking. I haven't really been feeling super creative. The pandemic kind of sucked all the artisticness out of me, I feel like. But it's starting to come back now. The podcast actually has been helping with that, kind of getting me feeling normal again. So what
Yeah.
made you decide to make that jump from the business that you were in to SuckerPunch?
So basically, at that point, 13 years into the business of growing the company into an ad agency, I had I was just sick of being behind a computer all day and just getting computer body, so
Yeah.
and I hate the treadmill. I hate, just traditional exercise. I just didn't like. Me and my colleague at the time, Brandon Montijo, we drove past the gym, and it was Combat Sports Center, and it was in a strip mall. And the only reason I saw it was because the mall was closed at the time and the lights were still on, but it was shining down on the ring.
Oh wow.
And you could see the ring from the street. So, and then I looked up, and if it was a boxing gym, I probably wouldn't have gone in. I probably would have been intimidated, but it said, martial arts
Right.
on the, I was like, oh, so I could probably do this, because I knew I didn't want to do like Taekwondo or anything like that with katas. And I grew up doing traditional martial arts, and I mean, it just didn't hold my attention.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn actually how to hit somebody and make it practical. So I went in there with Brandon, met Brian Crenshaw, got all excited, and like an idiot, I paid my entire tuition up front for the year, not knowing that 2 months later, Brian was going to recognize that I owned the type of company that I did, and asked me to help him promote the local show, Combat Sports
Right?
Champion. Yes, Combat Sports Challenge. Yes, CSC. So I said, okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to pay any more gym dues. This will be our trade. And he's like, okay. And then I was like, fuck, I already paid the whole year. And
You owe me money. Yeah.
So did that with Brian, and Brandon was part of the production, and I was just the person that handled the marketing and the designs and all that stuff and the promotion. And it we did well. First thing I did was, bring in some special guests that I thought would attract a local crowd. And at the time, that was Jens Pulver, Pat Miletich, and Sean Shirk. And this was when Jens was just coming off of being the coach on The Ultimate Fighter.
Just a couple of legends, no big deal.
I had, I'd always been a fan. So when we found out that Jens would come out and the amount of money that it cost to get him out, I was taken back. Like, whoa! I was like, "You see, yeah, we'll come out."
Yeah.
Like in my head, MMA was this huge thing,
Right?
Because I was just such a huge fan. And like I said, as I got more and more into it, I realized that the infrastructure of the sport was still the wild, wild west.
Right.
And Jens was the one that told me that, Jens was the one that gave me the education on, man, this sport needs somebody like you and this and this. So anyways, Jens came out. Sean and Pat were also really nice, but Jens and I hit it off really well. I brought Jens down to my office, showed him what I did. And, he immediately said, man, he's like, I'm coming back to Zuffa. I'm going to be fighting WEC. I'm going to be fighting Cub Swanson. He's like, I'd love you to be my agent, and in my head, I'm like, oh shit, Jens Pulver's asked me to be his agent. I just fanned out, like, had no clue what I was doing. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. But
yeah,
it was a hobby, and I don't even think we named the hobby yet. I was at a bar up in Northern Virginia watching one of my old high school buddies from Spain play. He was in a band called you might have heard of him in the 80s. There was a band called General Public. I don't know if you heard of them. Anyways, but he was playing. Yeah, they sang that song, like 80s pop, like they sing that song Tenderness.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, little poppy. But he was playing in there, and I saw this guy standing in front of me with a T-shirt on that said SuckerPunch Saloon. And then I was like, oh, that's what we're going to call our hobby. So I called my friend Brandon, and that's what we ended up calling SuckerPunch Entertainment. Anyways, that's when Jens asked me to do that, and I just took it on as a side project and just hoping to God I was going to do well with it. And when came fight day, Jens, you know, I used all of my network in the ad world and stuff like that, and I had Jens decked out with Call of Duty, PC Gamer magazine, Paramount Pictures sponsored him for the movie Cloverfield. We got to go walk the red carpet. And then I remember I was designing Jens' fight kit. At the time, there were no fight kits.
Right.
You know, everybody was just wearing hodgepodge stuff with a black banner behind them with shotgun splatter of logos. But I remember I was like, I'm going to make Jens look like an action figure. So I designed his shirt, his shorts, his banner, everything matched. I wanted him to look like an action figure in a package, like a G.I. Joe package, a figure, you know? Mm. And came fight day, and I was just like, man, I hope I did good. I hope I did good. And everybody was like, whoa, who the hell's working with Jens? Because he came walking out, you know, branded up and looking sharp, and everybody else had the traditional MMA warehouses and stuff like that on them. Yeah, and then everybody just started asking who Jens was working with, and Jens pumped me up and talked to me to everybody. That's where I met Jeff Curran, who fought Uriah Faber that night, main event. A week later, Jeff called me and asked me to work with his gym, and I just kept telling myself, "Whoa, keep walking through these doors if they keep opening, because I love this stuff." And if the door shuts in my face, run back to the ad agency as fast as you can. Well, the doors never shut; they just kept opening, which caused another problem because my income at the ad agency was up here, and my hobby for SuckerPunch was here, and it wasn't catching up fast enough. So, yeah, it just got pretty stressful. I had to, you know, make a decision of cutting the cord with the ad agency and going full on into SuckerPunch, or going back to the ad agency. And I felt like at my age, it was a big risk to start from scratch over again. But I just felt like right place, right time. I felt like I was the janitor at AOL, you know, that got some shares in the company, and I was in the right place at the right time. So I just kept doing it. And eventually the ad agency really started to suffer. I had to start letting people go. But I just, you know, I remember paying the mortgages on our properties for like nine months on my credit cards. It was just a real scary, my house, and we had a rental property as well. So scary times, but man, I remember one day the bills were paid, and I was like, I didn't want to say anything. And the next month the bills were paid again. I was like, and seriously, for the last, you know, 13 years, I've kept that same mindset. Like, bills are paid, not saying anything, you know.
Right.
Here we are. SuckerPunch is now one of the more recognized names in the sport for management, and, you know, pretty blessed.
Best in the business, in my opinion. I've been around a little while. It's pretty cool too, because you know, it's wild looking back at that time, because I know, because I feel like I just kind of got into training and everything around that same time, and it's the landscape is so different now. It's insane, you know, like, because nobody really knew what was going on back then. Like, nobody really knew what was going on back then. It was so everyone was kind of figuring it out, because like with 2005, I guess the Ultimate Fighter hit, and that was when it was like, okay, this is like really about to be something now, and everybody knew it, but it was like nobody really knew where it was going, or like what really to do with it yet. So yeah, I'm having somebody with vision like you in the mix, I'm sure helped steer the sport tremendously, for sure.
I don't know, you want to call it vision or just, I don't know, I'm here.
No, you got the vision, man. You definitely do. You had a post the other day that really resonated with me, because it's something I think about a lot too, about I hate to bring up a bummer thing, but about your father passing before he got to see like what you did with SuckerPunch. But I know and I know you're a big Bruce Lee guy like me too, though. So I always had this thing in my head from, which is kind of dumb because it's from the Jason Lee Scott movie, but when his dad was like, just make sure you make a noise loud enough for me to hear. And I feel like you've definitely done that with SuckerPunch for sure. Like, he can definitely hear you for sure.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It was right probably right after he passed that, I started even training at Combat Sports Center. So yeah, he didn't get to see any of it, but he definitely would have tripped out for sure.
Yeah.
He loved it.
Yeah, I had my father passed when I was young, when I was 16. So obviously he missed out on pretty much everything that I did that wasn't getting in trouble. And then when my grandfather was really in my life since I was a kid. I mean, I've always been like since I was a kid, like I'm gonna be a comic book art. I was telling him I was gonna be a comic book artist and like make movies and stuff since I was a little kid. And he used to get so pissed off. You're a dreamer, it's never gonna work. So and I feel like even when I first started the gym, if he was around at that time and I told him what I was doing, it would have stressed him out. So but he was always they just worry. They worry when they're that parental figure. They're just worried that he was a very by the book guy. He was in the Marines in Korea, and then got his PhD in like education, worked for the Department of Education in DC. He's like a very like, this is how you do your life type of guy. So I think if anything, it's just nice to let them know like I'm not like sleeping on the street or anything. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, well, I actually can. You can see all your creativity, man. The memes you make, they're hilarious. Like I said,
thank you.
Tell on the design. So there is an inherent knack for creativity in you, and that's honestly what it's. Everybody always says they want to go to school for graphic design or art or something like that. And it's, in my opinion, it's like a scapegoat major. You know, when you really don't know what you want to do, you think just go to art.
Yeah.
No,
I'll just learn how to be creative.
Yeah, you can't be taught to be creative. Like you either have it or you don't, and that's where you would see people just get weeded out all the time. But I've seen it in your stuff for years, man. There's a cleverness to everything.
I appreciate it. Hopefully we can pull it all together with this podcast. That's the goal.
Hey.
So early days, like when I first came in contact with Suckerpunch, and I remember being an amateur fighter and being like, I gotta be on SuckerPunch one day, because like Zach Davis and Amir Sadala were guys that I looked up to and even got to train with a little bit early on. Tell me about those days a little bit when your guys were kind of first getting the people around this area going.
Man, it was kind of like, those are the good old days right there. I remember, Amir actually trained at Combat Sports Center. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Jens was the one that kind of catapulted me into kind of doing this. Amir got on to the Ultimate Fighter I don't even think he had any pro fights.
No pro fights.
No pro fights. And
they changed the rule after that.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because he won.
He won it. But my partner at the time, Brandon Montijo, put together a pretty slick demo reel of Amir, and so we sent it in. He got on the show and he did great. And then after that it was Zach Davis and Levon Maynard, all these people from the area that we were trying to build up. And I remember we all went out for the tryouts. We had a huge SuckerPunch crew, and it was I had everybody in the shirts. I think at that time the branding and the marketing and stuff like that actually really helped, because nobody was doing that. All the managers at the time were like, Ed Soares. Everybody knows Ed. He managed Anderson Silva at the time. Right. Monty Cobb. They were all like individual names. So nobody knew who the hell I was. So why am I going to come out there and start saying, "Oh, Brian Butler"?
Yeah.
I made SuckerPunch be the thing that everybody recognized and creating the brand. And we went out to the Ultimate Fighter tryouts, and I remember seeing like 6-7 guys there trying out wearing the SuckerPunch shirts, and it was like the first kind of step in that direction to where things looked like kind of like a team of people. And it was pretty cool, man. Those days were a lot of fun. Wouldn't trade them for anything, actually.
Yeah, that was a super exciting time. I remember Amir was training at Brian's, and he came out to Lloyd's for a couple weeks before he left for Tough, just to like get some sparring and probably do some jiu-jitsu and stuff. And I trained there in the mornings a lot, and would like randomly, which was awesome, would kind of get roped into like, hey Jason, you got to be anywhere, and I'm like, no. I'm like, all right, we need you for sparring. So yeah, Amir was there, so I got to spar with Amir, which was eye-opening. He was super good, man. I remember checking a kick and he knocked me off balance.
Yeah, he had
Good
heavy
God.
ass legs.
Heavy legs,
But I
man.
tell you, he's a good training partner because he never really, he didn't bully.
Nope.
You know,
Very technical.
and Amir's that guy that will look like he's getting beat up in training, but he's just learning, you know.
Yeah.
And then when it comes fight time, he was a game day guy.
Man, he sure was. Because
But,
the people on that season were I mean, he had Matt Brown on there.
Yeah.
Who else?
CB Dalloway.
Yeah, CB Dalloway. I think Matt Arroyo was on that season.
Yeah, there was another
Chuck Steele or Chuck O'Neal or whatever.
That one kid that became a WWE guy or a wrestler or something like that was.
Yeah. Matt Riddle. Yep.
Riddle.
Yeah, there were some big names on that season. Yeah, he came through and he did his thing, man. That was super exciting because it's like, you know, like I said, you're in the area, you're meeting these guys, and he's somebody I'd seen come up and even got a chance to train with a little bit, and you see them get on the show, and at the time didn't even have any pro fights. And then like I said, that was crazy. They changed that rule after them, and I would have thought they would just, all right, well, I guess whatever, you know. I mean, it makes sense, but again, like I said, the landscape has changed so much since then. I feel like it makes more sense now because there's so many more people out there that are actually fighting MMA. But yeah, he won the damn show. It's like just because Angela Hill had to do something similar, or she had kind of scrambled to get a fight before she could get on because she just had pro Muay Thai, right?
Yep. She got one MMA fight in right before we got on,
which is crazy because she's a monster. You would
I just saw him here actually a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks. I don't know.
Your Extreme
few weeks
Couture, right?
Could be yeah. I went into the gym for Paul Felder when Paul Felder took the fight on 5 days notice.
Yeah.
We went into there and Amir was there, and I was like, Amir? He's like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah. He's out there in Vegas at Extreme Couture now.
Yeah. Still same guy, still funny as hell. He was coaching and helping some people.
That's really good. Yeah, man. I feel like it's a precursor now too. You know, Zach kind of got a bum deal because he had gotten injured on the show, and he was looking good too. Kind of people don't realize that, like, and I feel like we're now slowly starting to get there. I feel like there's still not talks about it yet, but like the DMV we've been there for a while. You know, you had Amir, and then you had Zach, who I think if hadn't gotten injured had a really strong chance of winning his season. And then obviously
Mackins but he's Norfolk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if anybody from DC, Maryland, Virginia area, I'm like, that's our guy.
Yeah. Mackins was a beast too, man.
Yeah, super good. And then, you know, you got everybody. You got obviously the guys coming out of Lloyd's. You got Sadiq's crushing it right now. Tefan made it in. Tucker's on now. I feel like we've been coming for a while, but there's still not that like people moving here yet, like that. But I've been saying for a long time, like, man, at some point people will start moving here to train, just like they do for like California or Albuquerque or anything like that, because there's definitely there's stuff going on here. I mean, people have moved here to train with Lloyd for jiu-jitsu. Obviously, he's the best, by far the best American jiu-jitsu team in the world. There's no question about that. I mean, he's locked that down for a long time. But I think MMA wise, it's coming too, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Lloyd cranks out at just straight up scary killers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done it even back when Mike Easton was in it, you know, and Ron Stallings, all those boys, they were just, you know, tough
Yeah,
guy.
that's the thing. Yeah, Ron fought Strikeforce, fought UFC. Mike would have been in the UFC a long time ago, I think, if they had had the smaller weight classes. He was even
Yeah, I mean,
doing
he was
fights at
in.
155.
Yeah,
Um,
he could have been back in for sure.
yeah.
But yeah,
And then one of the things I want to talk about, because I was like, Raj will be pumped about this too. Alienware. How did you get hooked up with Alienware back when you were I knew you were doing stuff with them for a long time.
They're tough.
yeah. So Jens was the one that was telling me that he was a big PC gamer. So
Mhm.
I started going after brands that Jens was interested in, and then Alienware. I kept calling them almost probably a year and a half. I was cold calling them, and they kept turning me down. And finally I got the ear of my buddy over there, Cody Norris, and just told him to give me a chance to show them that this sport was relevant for and it could do for their brand. And I think they gave me a little bit of a budget to kind of shut me up I wouldn't stop calling. So they gave me it was like $11,000 for the quarter. So they gave me a quarterly slush fund budget or whatever you want to call it. And they're like, all right, see what you can do with this. And if you make some noise with this, we could sit down and talk. And I was like, I called all my guys at the time, all my guys and girls at the time. And I just kept saying, guys, we have an opportunity here to bring in a mainstream sponsor, something completely not in that has never been in MMA before. So just trust me. If we have real estate on your shorts and banner and it's not being sold, work with me. We'll get you some money, but it's not going to be a lot, but just trust me. So they all did. And it was Pat Barry, Amir Sadala, Felice Herrig, Jeff Kern, Bart Palashevsky, all my old school guys, Jens, obviously. And I put the logo everywhere. And I think everybody may have gotten just a few $100s because I just spread it out as far as I could, as far and wide as I could. End of the quarter, I'm feeling good that I had the logo on television like every week for, however many times on so many fighters. And I called them and they're like, yeah, sorry, we didn't really see anything, but maybe in the future. And I was like,
Right.
blew it, And Felice Herrig, she wasn't in the UFC or anything, but this is when MySpace and social media was just starting to take off, and she had already had this rapport with the brand. She would say, oh, my little blue boyfriend and this. When she would fight, she would just say, Felice, she's just quirky, right? So after they canceled the program, she tweeted something, and the Alienware company Twitter account tweeted her back and said something to her, and she's like, I'm not allowed to talk to you anymore. I have a new boyfriend. His name is Mac.
Oh shit.
And I was like, and I was like, that was clever, I was like, within 15 minutes, I had a DM, a voice message, email saying, hey, we just noticed that the interaction with her caused our social media channels to light up. I was like, we need to reactivate this program and figure it out. So flew out there, turned that $11,000, slush fund budget into a project that lasted probably 7 years.
Yeah.
And it went up to like 1.8 million annually.
Damn. That's sick.
So there's like the freakonomics behind how that happened is because of a stupid tweet from Felice.
That's all it takes these days, though.
Yeah.
Generated traffic.
Ends up sponsoring probably 1,000 fighters over the period that we were working with the brand, and put the logo in the octagon, center of the octagon.
Right. And they are in the game and everything too, right?
Yeah.
That's all because you, big dog, out here making shit happen. You and Felice. Shout out to Felice Herrig. Always been a big fan of her. I actually followed her since Fight Girls. Obviously I was a big, obviously I'm a big Muay Thai guy. So they had, for those that you don't know, there was a show called Fight Girls that had Felice Herrig, it had Michelle Watterson, Miriam Nakamoto was on there. Gina was a coach on there. I mean, it was like the who's who. Lisa King was on there. I know I'm forgetting a couple names and I feel terrible, but it was like was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a big deal too, because it was Muay Thai on TV, which was hard to get back then. I think this was like 2007 maybe.
Yeah.
And it was on like a weird like Oxygen network or something like that. But it was like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Oxygen's probably way bigger now, but back then it was like, what is I don't even know what that channel is. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have it, you know.
Mhm.
But I found it so I could watch some Muay Thai on TV, and they had Master Toddy. It was really big then at that time too, and it was linked to him and stuff like that. So that was a cool thing. I've been following her ever since then. Finally got to meet her at UWC here in Virginia. Yeah, when she fought Iman from Capital, and I was all excited. I was like, I've been following you since Fight Girls. And she was like, oh, she was really cool. She was super cool. Always really awesome when you meet people and they're cool to you in person too. So one of the other things I wanted to bring up too, which I always thought was awesome, is you train with your people a lot too. You're still out there getting it.
Yeah, trying. I enjoy it. Like I said, I'd rather do that any day than running on a treadmill or lifting weights. So yeah, I like to spar.
Yeah, it's always good to get in there and get some rounds in and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Brian's a beast too. Don't sleep on Brian.
No, not really.
He's another lover of the liver shot like me. He knows how to catch. You gotta have that liver shot when you're a little bit older and a little bit smaller than everybody else, just to keep the playing field even. Gotta let them know every now and then. Slow your ass down.
Yeah, get a little crazy.
That body. Tell me a little bit about you guys when you took the company public. I know that was kind of a big step for you guys too.
Yeah. So, well, we got approached by this group that was trying to put together this organization that was going to go public, and all that stuff. And I was pretty hesitant about it because I kind of questioned some things on how the business model was going to be and things like that. But I basically listed down all of our protection points and made sure that the company that we had built, myself and Brian Hamper, would be protected. And we did it. We took the chance. We sold, and the model ended up not working as I kind of predicted. There was a little too many cooks in the kitchen, but because I had the way that we had structured the deal, we were able to get everything back at the end. And so it was a win-win situation. I got to meet some really good people. I'm still working with these people to this day. So I don't regret any of it. It was a fun time too while it was.
I felt like and it worked. I feel like it was cool. I feel like it was cool because it was just cool to see it happen, has another management company done that even?
No.
Yeah.
We were the only management company that was on board for that thing. And, like I said, it was, the concept was cool and made sense, but there was just the way they put it together. I just had a feeling that it wasn't going to. So that's why, since us being the only management company involved, we were able to keep ourselves isolated from the mess of all the other stuff that went on. But it was cool, and like I said, I met a lot of good people that were in there, and we're still working with them to this day.
Yeah, so. And like you said, it was awesome to see you guys up there at the stock exchange, like doing your thing and all that. I thought that was like,
cool. Yeah, I got the coolest profile picture ever.
Yeah, yeah, that was badass. I was like, oh, look at my boy, he's getting it. And that's actually a good segue because my next question was gonna be about Brian Hamper, your partner in crime, and he's been with you. Has he been with you the whole time?
As long as I can remember, actually, he's been for most of it. Like not in the very beginning. The very beginning of me and Brandon.
It was just you doing your thing, yeah.
Yeah, the hobby that kind of grew, and then as soon as I decided to go into it full on myself, I may have been doing it for myself for a couple years, maybe. I can't remember, but I do remember realizing that the sport that I was martial arts, and in my head was going to be this really respectful thing, you know, in an industry that I thought was going to be respectful. I remember thinking, wow, how shady a lot of people were. When I met people in it, I realized the infrastructure was crap. It was someone's friend's cousin doing this and this and this, you know, all the way through. So I remember when I met good people, they stood out to me.
Yeah.
And Hamper was one that stood out to me, you know, right away. Hamper and Shu Hirata were two people that stood out to me at that time as reputable and good ethic people, you know. So I just told them, I was like, hey guys, you know, at that time, SuckerPunch was starting to get a little bit of traction because the name and the brand was starting to be recognized. And I just said, hey guys, you know, if we're going to go to the next level and looking 5-10 years down the road in this industry, we got to get away from this mom and pop run type of management company and look at trying to build something. Maybe we come on board and merge together with everybody and join forces and make some noise. And, you know, Hamper at the time, he had his roster of clients and Shu had his and I had mine. We merged it and everything took off from there.
So he was already managing some people as well.
Oh yeah, Hamper had like Cowboy and Leonard Garcia.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
he had them before he linked up with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure like what the timeline. I knew he would, you know, he had been doing this thing for a while. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was actually a funny story because I never want to be that. Not me, just me, but as a total, we never want to be those people that poach people from other managers. But I remember I was sitting at a sorry, Pat Berry's calling me and I just got sidetracked. Sitting at a WEC and Cowboy fought and he ended up sitting behind me with his parents or something. And I remember turning around, I was like, man, you've got this and this, your brand, I like stick with it and this and that. And then I felt bad afterwards because I ended up talking to Hamper on the phone. I realized Hamper was his manager and I didn't want him to think I was trying to steal him or anything.
Right.
So I told Hamper right then and there, and then Hamper's like, nah, man, it's all good, this and this. So we kind of became friends, and he was one of the first guys he was the first guy that I asked to merge together. So since then he's been absolutely my right-hand guy or on his guy, whatever you call it.
You guys are right and left hand. I get you. Yeah. No, he's the man. Always been super helpful with anything that related to us too. Like anytime we've dealt with him, he's helped us out, even just at Shogun and stuff. Even just an awesome guy. Absolutely, I could see right away what you're talking about, and I would absolutely trust him with anything as well too. Yeah. Man, the gear is always fire. Obviously, we know why now because you came from that background and stuff. Then and I'm always bugging Brian. I'm like, man, if there's any of that extra gear, let me get some gear because it's always sick. I really like the new stuff a lot too. With the gloves with the big question mark and the big exclamation point and you got.
That was actually my son's idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Justin was like, you should do this, and I started playing around with it. I was like, yeah, that actually works.
Yeah, it's sick. It's funny because I was working on some like mismatched gloves that match type thing too, and I was like, I'm gonna be the first one to get these out, and then yours popped up, and I was like, fuck. I was like, he's on it too, man. Yeah, those gloves are sick, and you had the like the shorts and the bags and all the stuff that kind of went together too. Was that like a Hawaiian graphic that was on there kind of? Yeah.
Initially the first round I did it with I put, you know, we kind of started managing a ton of people in Hawaii, and Max was the champ, and you know everybody was their gym, you know, needed some equipment and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll, you know, he's my boy, and his team were my people at the time. So went ahead and put a design down that I thought was cool and ordered up a bunch of gear and sent them some of it, and then had a whole bunch of it left. And, you know, it basically started because a lot of our fighters need gear, and I can call companies and get gear for them, but it's cumbersome when you have so many fighters, and I can't keep calling all these companies for one-offs here and there. So I was like, you know what, just we'll just invest, and I would put like 20 grand down and buy a bunch of gear, and when we sign a new prospect, I can give them some actual quality gear, as opposed to some of the gear out there is
sucks,
questionable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know Booster is a really high quality brand that's very durable and long. The only reason I'll stop using any of my Booster gear is because it just ended up stinking too bad.
Yeah, that's it. 100%.
But it still holds up.
It does. You just literally have to. You sometimes might be knocking people out with funk. That's literally what goes on.
Yeah. So
their Shin Guards are my favorite. The original black and white ones, the version 2s.
Yeah.
Are literally the best Shin Guard ever made on planet Earth of all time. 100%.
Yeah.
I still have one
so
pair that's hanging in there. And they they stink a little bit, but they're hanging in there and they're good. And it's hard for me to give them up. I actually had I use a company called Beast Coast for my gloves. Because the guys like,
how is it? Are they
man? I love the gloves. Yeah, you know me. I'm like, I check everything out, and I'm like very snobby about the stuff that I use too. And the gloves are fantastic. And he'll do the crazy designs. I mean, I got a whole Maryland flag on the inside of that palm, and he didn't make me do 500 of them. I think I ordered like 20 gloves or whatever, and he didn't gouge me on the price or anything. It's very fair, fairly
it's got
quick.
Good wrist support.
Yeah, so these are the lace ups are. I feel like you're on your own with that. You got to make sure you're punching correctly, but with the Velcro ones, they're solid.
Yeah, because that's what I like about the Booster. The Dutch stuff.
Booster, 100%. No, the Booster. I mean, Booster. Obviously, they're geared towards like the Dutch style drilling too. So like, I feel like they have all that in mind, like catching punches and stuff like that too. Booster's phenomenal. When Brian Crenshaw put me on to Booster, obviously when he got a bunch of other people onto it back then. We still have our Booster tie pads that we ordered in 2013. I want to get new ones, but they won't fucking die. Literally, like they feel the same as they did when, and I'm like, man, I feel guilty like getting different tie pads, even though I'm sick of looking at them. But they're like still in perfect condition. So that's a phenomenal company. They make really, really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. One thing, and because I'm not sure, I wanted to ask you about it because I'm not sure if it's even over yet. I think I remember seeing that it was. I know you guys had a small feud with King of the Cage over fighter Draco. They were being a pain in the butt about releasing him. I don't know if you can talk about that or if it's over yet or.
I mean, it's over. I mean,
all right, good.
Was pretty much, I mean, Draco's in the UFC now. He actually just fought last night and didn't do too well last night, but he had I mean, it's over. I mean, it was public and it was one of those things that I could sit back and let things happen or call it out. And I it's not like I relied on King of the Cage to build my business anyways. So I weighed everything out, and I was like, man, I can't let them keep doing this to this kid. So did everything I could to not go public with it. But I just got put in a position where I felt like I had to speak out. So I spoke out.
Yeah. For those that don't know, he said he basically got an offer to come up to the UFC, right? And they twice, and he had some fights on a contract with them, and they were kind of holding his feet to the fire. Not kind of, they were, right? They wouldn't let him out to go fight.
Yeah, that's what it was. And listen, I mean, I understand, and I understand the regional promotion scene, and I sympathize with the fact that Draco, may have been a ticket seller, and it was a good thing for him. But I also think that it was pretty small-minded to think that any regional show is going to compete with the UFC or Bellator or anything like that. And I think that holding him back I would rather, I would push my prospects to a promotion that would help me graduate them to the big show.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna lock up my guy for a 600 and 600 type of contract and not let him go to the UFC after he's done well for you and sold tickets for you and things like that, well then I'm never going to use you again. And that's what I weighed out in my head. I'm like, you know what, screw it.
Yeah, it's a weird flex, because you would think like any show would be of the mind to be like, this is good for us, and it's not like they haven't had fighters go from there to the UFC. So it's like I mean, I know I know like Lou Neglia, every show he tells you like he's got an updated number of how many fighters went from ROC to the UFC. Like that's a big part of their
LFA,
thing.
same thing.
Yeah,
Titan,
CFFC, Titan, all those shows. I mean, that's like a smart business model, you would think, because now, okay, so now you're getting an influx of people that want to fight for your show because there's a potential to move from there. And then even just from a business standpoint, I would think whatever they're paying Draco, you would be like, okay, cool. So he's going to move up, and now maybe we can pay him an appearance fee and get him to come bring some people here still. And we're not paying him his show and win money. So it's a win-win for us anyway, even from like a money standpoint, it's but yeah.
Well, the third time we got the call up, we were able to get him released. So at that point, I just put the argument to bed, because I mean, what good's it gonna do?
What's the point? Yeah, for sure. No, I thought it was awesome that you took to it the way that you did, because I've seen some moves like that in the game before too, and it's frustrating. It's like I try to tell our guys, like, listen, if you want to go pro, like as an amateur, start practicing selling tickets, because that's going to be a big part of what gets you there in the first place. A lot of times, like, it helps to show that these shows, like, I can market myself, I can get people to drive and watch me fight, and then from there, like, once you have a crowd, you have a built-in audience, like that's huge. I mean, that's basically what everybody's doing these days, like whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Like, you're trying to prove to the world that you can build an audience that's going to tune in and watch you do whatever it is that you do, and then that kind of determines your value in a sense, almost. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy how that's changed over the years. Like, people are kind of forgetful of that stuff, that part of it. Cowboy Series. Let's talk about Cowboy Series. So that's kind of like the new, which was just super smart, because now we're taking it back even another step, not just thinking about, okay, here are the up and coming pros. Like, let's start looking at people all the way through. It's not, that's the other thing too about boxing and about MMA compared to like boxing and even Muay Thai, honestly, too. You don't have to, and almost probably not, it doesn't even really make sense. You're not going to fight 20, 30 amateur fights and then go pro. It's like, you kind of can start to figure it out a little earlier. I feel like who's ready and who isn't. So the Cowboy Series is a cool way to kind of start guiding some of these higher level amateurs, or even just starting off amateurs, to kind of go that route. What brought starting that up about?
Well, that's so Hamper is kind of like the bloodhound.
Yeah.
He scouts out a lot of the talent early on, and his relationship with Cowboy, he came up with the idea to put together this amateur show, up in your area, and basically it would give us the first visibility on some of these, like you said, high level amateurs. And Cowboy is a partner of it. Hamper is the one who dreamt up the idea, and it gives Cowboy a project to focus on for something maybe after, when he's walking away from the fight, so he can still keep his foot into the industry. And yeah, we've actually signed quite a few amateurs that are pro debuters, from Cowboy Fight Series into Sucker Punch now, and it's worked out very well.
It's a pretty big deal. There's a young lady from Hawaii that came all the way out here to fight, correct?
Yeah.
Katana, is that Lady Katana? What's her?
She just fought. She just fought. When did she fight? Let me look up my thing. I think she just fought in LFA 2 weeks ago. Or
Oh, that's awesome.
My mind is all
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's all jumbled up,
blending together with it. Yeah. But yeah, we've had quite a few people graduate from Cowboy Fight Series into pro debuts.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I think something that I've kind of tried to do a little bit with Muay Thai even too. You know, we have the smoker events, and then started running an amateur show called Rise, and like my goal was to kind of have that, like, okay, go here and then go here, just to kind of help people
map it out,
know what the path is. Yeah, because it's, you know, not everybody knows which route to follow. And yeah, that Cowboy Series is cool, and then they also are getting some eyes on them too, even as an amateur, which is good, because it's streaming out. It's on Flow, right? And then where it streams at? Yeah, it's on Flow. Well, yeah, man, the last one I went to was really cool because I happened to have Artur Kaishenko out here to do a seminar, who's like my all-time favorite kickboxer. And then so I showed up there with him because he was in town, and he was like, what, well, like, he just randomly asked me, you know, what I was doing later. And I was like, well, I'm going to the MMA fights out in Virginia. And he's like, okay, I want to go. I was like, oh shit, all right, I'm sure they'll be happy to have you there. That's pretty awesome. And then randomly Cosmo Alexander was there too, which was really cool. Because them two could fight at some point, maybe down the road. That's like a fantasy matchup right there. So it was kind of cool to have them all in one place. But yeah, and then it's just kind of like I feel like that goes to show even too, just like what caliber show it is, even at the amateur level, to have just random superstars in the audience even too. And Sadiq's there doing some commentary stuff like that too. So yeah, it's a really cool show already. Obviously right now not going on because the amateur scene is kind of dead right now, which really sucks. Kind of putting a damper on things a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple shows throughout the country that are doing some things, but they're, you know, amateur shows survive off of ticket sales, and if you can't have you can't really do it.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's super tough. CFFC has been, they've still been doing some on their like undercards a little bit, right?
Some, I believe, yes.
Yeah.
CFFC's been doing a great job, man. They've been killing it lately, and their production value it's spot on, man. They're a great show.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. They've always put on a really, really awesome professional looking show. I've been dealing with them for a long time. Since I think 2010 or 11, I had Angla fighting on there. When I coached Angla, he fought for CFFC. So yeah, great group of people. Always took pretty good care of us. Pat's fought on there too. It's obviously like that for us. I feel like that's the them and Shogun are the two pro shows that we want to get our guys onto, and then eventually, you move on from there.
Yep.
Tell me about PFL. PFL came on the scene. They're doing things a little differently, but that's definitely cool to have some other options out there. Do you guys deal with PFL much?
Oh yeah. We got a few people on this upcoming season. And Ray Steffo is he's a great friend of mine, so easy to do business with. And it's good that these shows, PFL, Bellator, 1FC, they're out there that are paying, livable wages to people to be full-time fighters. And it's not all, contingent on getting in the UFC. So, there are options out there, and it's great for competition. Brett Johns was one of our guys that was in the UFC. And he fought through his contract to the point where he was a free agent. And we, once that happened, we went back and forth with the UFC and shopped him to Bellator, and we got him a better offer at Bellator, like a really good offer from Bellator. And Brett was more than happy to hang up the UFC gloves and go over to Bellator, and he's going to be making his Bellator debut here in April. PFL, same thing. We have a bunch of fighters that, we could have worked with and built to get to the UFC, but PFL was there offering, legitimate salary purses to the fighters. And, why not? Like, Duke Rufus says to me, he's like, does it matter what letters are on the check, or does it matter what numbers are on the check?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, some fighters, it actually matters about the letters.
Yeah. Some do. Yep. For sure.
So, if that's what you want, then we'll fight for that,
Yeah.
But if, like Douglas Lima, he's proven he's one of the GOATs in 100%. My opinion. Yeah. And he has got a family now. He's got a home, and Bellator has done nothing but take care of him, and they're paying him a great money. Yeah. Like, do we want to take a pay cut to go to the UFC just to say that you got to the UFC? Why?
Yeah. No.
Keep making millions and
hell yeah.
Take care of your family.
And you can't argue about Douglas. Man, I was so happy when he beat MVP.
I think everybody was.
Man, you know what's crazy? For some reason, I feel like I'm surrounded by like MVP fanboys, and I'm like, he's dangerous. It just from a pure striking perspective, like low kick him, boom, fight's over. Like, it's not like I feel like people are like bewildered by that style sometimes. If you don't have like not that I'm like anybody special, obviously, but if you don't have like a super high fight IQ, I feel like it's like, man.
The problem with it is he's also ridiculously fast.
He is super fast. Yeah, he's got the speed.
He's in and out faster than you think. And even Douglas is like, man, I was like, he was faster than I thought.
Yeah.
But Douglas didn't just kick his leg out; he kicked both of them out.
And then hit him with the. Did you see the Ray Rod edit of that finish? I want to get Ray Rod on here, man. I've actually talked to him on Instagram a couple times randomly. He's super cool. Yeah, and I love his stuff. He makes the coolest shit. I think he had him like kick out his legs, and then he like reached up and the hammer of Thor and boom, blasted him with it. It was so cool. But yeah, I was pumped for that one. Mostly, like I said, just because sometimes I feel like sometimes other people make me not like fighters because they're like, man, he's gonna crush Lima, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, you obviously don't know what you're talking about, and then I'm being like a fight snob a little bit too, but I knew Lima was gonna win, and I was glad he did it spectacularly, so I could be like, see. I told you.
Did you see Lima hit that punch machine at the UFC?
Yeah. Dude's got some hammers, man.
Dude. I think he was over 100,000 pounds per square inch.
Yeah, he's got some hammers. I wouldn't want to get hit by him for sure.
Paul and Jens and all them, they're hovering around 60,000-70,000 pounds per square inch.
Right. Jens can crack too, man. Jens can crack too. So yeah, that means that Lima's numbers get super, super high then.
Yeah.
Another really exciting thing I feel like for honestly, maybe even not maybe, I feel like it probably is a lot better for the sport. The Contender Series is another way for people to get on now as opposed to going to the Tough House, which is, pun not intended, tough, I think, on the fighters because they got that whole 6-week thing. And I feel like that format got a little stale in general anyway. And the Contender Series,
they're bringing it back.
Yeah, I see that, and I'm not. And you know what? It's funny. I always get excited. The trailer always
3 or 4 people on it.
That's awesome, and I'm gonna watch it because I it's one of those things where I'm always like, when the season starts going, I'm like, they hooked me in here again, and I'm like watching the drama, and I really just
I think there's been a long enough break.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. To where
they have
like,
taken a long enough
I'll
break.
watch it again.
Yeah, no, I always tune in. I can't help myself. The trailers always get you. They show a little bit of craziness, and you want to see what happened. But obviously the fights are what I'm looking forward to the most. So then the Contender Series is cool because it's just a bunch of fights, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see the regional guys go up. But that was kind of what I wanted to do with in the sense with the Muay Thai shows, I wanted to have like a network where we almost ran a show under the same name regionally, and then eventually at the end of the year would bring together the people from the different regions so we could see who really was the best, and then start promoting those people to the people that go to glory and go to even some of the bigger international tournaments aren't always the best fighters. They're sometimes just, the people that they know somebody or whatever it is. And I get frustrated sometimes with, at least for Muay Thai and kickboxing, sometimes the people that get the shot aren't always the best ones. And then it's always like, see, America's trash. I'm like, no, that guy's not even that's not our guy. Don't judge us off that guy. Damn it, that's not our guy. So I always wanted to do something similar to the Contender Series, where they're actually like, okay, this guy's the shit over here and this guy's the shit over here. Well, let's see. And then it's easier to find out, because we've seen on that show some of those people weren't the dude. They were ticket sellers and they weren't necessarily the best fighters, So I think it's a really good way to weed out the people that are really about it, and it's just gonna increase the level of fighters that are going into the UFC early on, for sure. And you guys have had a ton of people on the Contender Series since it started.
Yeah, we have. It's been, it's a good show, and you better be ready to go if you get on that show, though. Like, some fighters, like, we can't get on there because, the style of fighter that they are, while they could be UFC ready and able to go, they need to have Contender Series really looks for those exciting type guys that, put someone out on their, or you go out on your shield type guy. And some fighters aren't built for that. So we have to take a different route, which is keep stacking up the wins and getting yourself in a position to go in the old fashioned way.
Yeah. For sure. I think it's a good way to interject some more exciting fighters into the sport a little bit too. And get some eyes on some people that might not have gotten that opportunity earlier. So I figured we'd go through some. You worked with some awesome people. I figured we'd touch on some of those and brush through this last little bit. I had so many questions for you, man. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep you for too long. I told you I was super excited to have you on. Working with Rose and Pat, I know those are definitely two of your, I don't want to say favorites, I don't want to get you in trouble, but I know you like them a lot. I know as people that watch your social media and stuff, we're always excited to see them on there because they're really cool. I've actually gotten to meet Pat with you a couple times, and he was really awesome. He is exactly how he is in videos and stuff like that. Super funny, super nice. So what's that experience like working with those two? You've been with them for a while now. Yeah,
Pat was one of my earlier clients. I had him all the way through UFC to this day, actually. And Rose, same thing. From her debut in Invicta, we did part ways for a little bit after the Ultimate Fighter for reasons that weren't necessarily, Rose's influence, so to speak. She was influenced by, by others, and then we ended up getting back together, so to speak, a couple years ago. But the whole time we were separated, I was still in communication with her through Pat and helping behind the scenes and stuff like that, just because Rose has always, been somebody that I'm just soft spot,
I can see that. I can see why. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. And Pat too. And honestly, I'm close with a lot of our clients that way, like Felder. He's a big, huge pain in my ass, but such a, he's, I'm really close with Paul. Like, he's an idiot. So Hamasi's really close with Angela Hill, really close with even Wei Lee. I'm close with Wei Lee and her team. So that one's going to be a little bit.
You guys represented Joanna too, or do I have that wrong? Oh yeah, you did, right? Okay.
Yeah, every single strawweight champion that has been in the UFC since the strawweight division started has come through.
Yeah, Carla, yeah, Rose, yeah, obviously
Andrade,
yeah. Damn, that's got to be awesome. And then a little bit like, shit, they're fighting again. It shows you guys know what you're doing, obviously, though.
Yeah, and fighters, obviously I would love to retain and work with all the fighters that we've had, from the beginning to the end. That's the manager's, dream, right? Yeah, right. But sometimes the business and industry changes people, and I've worked really hard. Hamper's worked really hard to not let it change us, and we're not going to sacrifice the way we do business for the ego of some other people, so to speak. And that's the way it is. And I do this because, number one, I'm passionate about it and I enjoy it. And if I have to change the way I am to do work, then that'll take away all of that fuel,
Right. Man, what's up with Jen's getting into the Hall of Fame? How's that going?
Man, it should have happened a long time ago. We've gone out. I've had 2 separate meetings with Dana and Jens directly about it, and each time it was promised that it's coming. I think it'll come. I think it's coming.
It has to.
And like that's it has to come. It'll come.
What do you think's the holdup? Just I think Dane sometimes is busy, huh? He's not
he's probably he's busy, and it's probably not the first thing at the top of his list that comes up. It just falls through. It's maybe just falling through the crack. I really don't know. It to me, it's like something like every time it comes up now, like come on, this time now, like it's time to go. But we'll see. At this point, the longer it doesn't happen, the more fired up people get. So I'm okay with it either way.
Yeah. We'll be sure to pump it on our social medias and stuff again too. Jens is the man. I mean, he was one of my early favorites when I first started training. Obviously, I like guys that box people up, and he definitely boxes people up. So. Just awesome personality all around. His season of the Ultimate Fighter, I still think is the best season they ever had. Talent wise in general, I mean, the talent on that season was crazy. So many good fighters on there. And then obviously Jens and BJ's stuff was wild. And that was I've gone back and watched through that season a couple of times, and always super entertaining. So hopefully they wisen up and get the legend Jens in the Hall of Fame at some point. Hurry up, Dana. So in the future, what do you see down the road for SuckerPunch? Like, what do you have? What are the plans? Are you just continue doing what you're doing? Do you have other big stuff that you're thinking about?
I want to continue to go. We've got new people working with us now. Chris Creech has come on board, and he's really developing a niche in the industry and company for himself. He's helping out with a lot of the logistics with the fighters, the sponsorship opportunities, the follow-ups and stuff like that. Hampers is continuing to do things like cowboy fights and to increase our our prospect list and grow that. I'm continuing to go out there and be on the road and just develop networks and bridges with the key people in the industry that we need to. I want to just keep growing the infrastructure of the business and have this company start working like a machine on its own, with just some guidance from the key people in it.
Right.
So just continue to build infrastructure.
What that actually reminds me too, because that was one thing I wanted to touch on that I glossed over. The sponsorships now for the UFC. What's that like now? Because before, obviously, when you could, like you said, you could make Jens look like a G.I. Joe when he's coming out and have the sick banner and all that stuff. And that time has passed for the UFC. Obviously, they can still do it for Bellator and PFL. They still have to have they have to have like the PFL stuff, but they allow them to put their logos and things on there, right?
Yeah, PFL. I'm gonna continuing to talk with them. They put the logo on there, but it's like one color this big. It doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
I've joked and talked with Ray about that a lot. So we're trying to make some changes there. But sponsorship has definitely changed. You know, now the sponsorship market is different, but the fighter's mindset isn't.
Right.
So back in the day when we were talking about those good old days, you'd had what 6-7 UFCs a year.
Yeah.
You know, and you could these companies could spread their budget out over 6 shows, and you just have these huge budgets to work with. Well, now there's like 2-3 shows every week.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
These companies are, you know, it's a sponsor's market now where they can pick and choose what they want, and they don't have to pay as much as they used to because they know that, you know, people are just clamoring for every dollar they can get. So the market's changed drastically in the availability of sponsors, and the fighters' mindsets oftentimes it has not. They think, oh, I'm the UFC now, I should have this sponsor. Well, no, you've got less followers on social media than me, you know.
And you can't wear that shit on TV.
Yeah. And your social media sucks. We need to really figure out how to make your content interesting, you know.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of that, you know. The market has changed, the landscape has changed, and fighters need to find a way now to make themselves stand out amongst everybody, pretty much on their social media platforms, to garner the attention of sponsors. You know, not that it can't happen when you get to the point where you're fighting for the belt or you're a title holder or this and that. You know, that obviously brings a lot of clout, but the better you are on social media, the better response and traction you'll have with sponsors.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a job, man. People don't realize, and they think, even like you said, it's not engaging. Like just being there doesn't mean shit either. You still gotta it's a job. Social media is work. I got level up to like 8,000 or something like that. No bots, like, you know what I mean? Like really got like real 8,000. Really just off
you did that with
meme.
your memes.
Yeah, it's just, but I was memeing hard though. You know what I mean? Like I was every day. I would anything I saw, I'd be like, I can make that into a meme. And then sometimes they would hit, sometimes they wouldn't. And I slowed down a little bit because it was like, I slowed down a lot. I don't really do it as much anymore because it was like, I was starting to get caught up in it. I felt like a little too much, where I was like, if this one doesn't hit, it's like a dagger. And I was just like, I was like, all right, I gotta stop this shit. Or you know, and then it's stupid too, because then I started being like, people would, you know, if I like met somebody like somewhere like at a tournament or something, they'd be like, yeah, he not Aaron's like a silver medalist at IFMA, the Muay Thai Olympics or whatever. It's like, yeah, he's the one that does the memes. I'm like, man, fuck those memes. I train killers, you know. But you got to take what you can get, obviously. And I've been cranking some out quietly again. I'm gonna start dropping some meme bombs on people again here pretty shortly, I think. Actually, for the cool thing about doing the podcast one is I can meme about anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be specifically about Muay Thai, but those are the ones that really caught everybody's eye. So I can't forget my base.
I always remember the one you did with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Oh yeah. In the hall, in the
standing
elevator
before you walk out to fight each other.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. So
I think everyone is my top one. Top
which one?
Back.
Oh yeah.
When you will knock out the guy, you call out everyone in the.
That's you know that because you knocking people out, so you know how that feels. You want to fight everybody.
Bring me belt right now.
Yeah, the Luke one's funny because at Friday Night Fights in New York, it's like in this like school, and the ballroom's like whatever it is. It's not a school. I don't know what the hell it is. It's really strange. So it feels like a school upstairs, and then downstairs is like a ballroom, but you have to ride the elevator to get from the warm up area down to and it's like you're the time to fight is the time to fight. So like there's a good chance that you're gonna end up riding the elevator down with the person that you're gonna fight. So it's just like that awkward, like, all right, like I don't know, should we just do it in here or it's good? We gotta wait till we get to the ring. Yeah, super strange. I like that one too. That's a funny one. I'll have to post that one again now. It got me thinking about it. Yeah, I was telling Raj, I was telling Brian a couple of days ago, and I called him and to ask him to come on the show. I'm working on writing a script about loosely based off of the gym. Obviously, it will expand on the idea a lot more from other things that I've known, and just off the imagination a little bit too. But basically, like a entourage show focusing more on like an MMA gym, and I have all the seasons kind of like scripted out, like how like the flow of what it's gonna do, like the regional scene, getting on like an Ultimate Fighter type show. I have it all like mapped out and everything, and I have a character based off of Mr. Bryan, obviously. So I was like, we gotta have the awesome manager in there and stuff like that. So I had to reach out to him and make sure it was cool to base a character loosely off him. So one of the things I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna start shooting some episodes like really short, like maybe 10 minutes or so, and putting it up on this YouTube channel too, just to kind of like get the ball rolling for it a little bit too. So try to get some sucker punch backup from some of the fighters and stuff like that, make it look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to you and talk about that. I definitely want, and pretty much everybody on the roster I want to get on here at some point too. I really want to get Jens on. I would love to get Jens on. So obviously, like I said, I've been a huge fan of him since forever. And I really want to get Angela Hill on as well too, because she's from Maryland originally.
Yeah.
Came up in the Muay Thai circuit. Super good at drawing, so like everything about her is like what we're about too. So I definitely want to reach out to her and try to get her on board as well too.
Yeah, we can work that out.
Awesome. Yeah, and then obviously anybody. Right now we're still building, but we're gonna grow this thing and get big. We're trying to be the next Rogan podcast down the road someday. So we'll always want to get any Sucker Punch people on here that we can, for sure.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I had for you. I really appreciate you coming on, and I know you got a lot of stuff going on all the time, and you're constantly working. You never have any off days, so I appreciate you blocking out some time for us and coming on.
No worries, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be in touch soon. I'll be editing this today and tomorrow, and then it'll go up tomorrow night, hopefully at 10 p.m. I just got to grind it out, but and I'll make sure I send you a link and everything too.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you again, man. Appreciate it. Anything I can do for you guys, just hit me up.
You're the man, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.